The running
PlayStation.
joke.
Yeah.
Get the fucking comms up.
Yeah. That's all you have to do is one thing, and you can't do it. That's so true.
Oh man, those poor dudes. We don't
I
give them
know.
enough credit for
The
everything they
worst
do.
one. Yeah, my son's lining up for his X-ray program, whatever, with the guard. He waited until Trump was in. He's going to go to 19th group, and he's he said, "What do you think I should be?" I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "Well, I don't want to be a medical because you do that." He said, "I hate that stuff." I'm like, "Okay, not 18 Delta, that's good. All right. Well, do you like communication? No, don't do echo." I said, "But the problem, son, is you have a college degree in aerospace engineering. They're going to push you towards that."
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you probably want to do like, if you want to be a Bravo, just go in there and really do bad on the ASVAB. But he's already taken it and he smoked it. So I'm like, well, you just have to deal with it. But in the guard, the good thing in the guard is they let them pick their MOS.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking outstanding, man. Yeah. It's always fun. There's so many of us are like, I want to be a medic. I want to be a doc. I want to earn that title. They go through selection, get selected, sit down in front of that cadre in that out brief, and they're like, yeah, you're going to be an 18 Bravo. It's like, all right, fair
Yeah.
enough.
It's okay. Hey, well, if I had to do it all over again, well, that's what I wanted to do back in, what was it, 1985, and I broke my leg, and they said, "You're never going to jump again." I'm like, "You mean I can't go to the Q course?" No, because I had pins and screws and plates. They wouldn't let you jump.
Yeah.
So it took a while to get all that out and come back and finally go, but that's, you know, the
Yeah.
rest of that.
Where there's will, there's way, man. That's the absolute truth of the story. I've seen individuals that have overcome insane things, and whether you agree with it or not, I've had so many teammates that lied, cheated, skirted the system. Dude, I've had colorblind teammates.
I may or may not know a guy that helped them get, maintain their statuses for their for physicals. I'm like, yeah, you're still an asset to the team. Just don't.
Yeah. Don't be
Don't get
number
hurt.
one. Like, hey, you wait for that jump master to slap you in the ass.
That's right.
I think the craziest one is Eastern European guy that was blind in one eye. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey, he
Yeah.
made it through.
That AT4 was way off. Which eye are you aiming with? The bad one. Why? Doc, Pete Chambers. Welcome to Security Halt Podcast, brother. How you doing?
I'm happy to be alive. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, man. You've been an awesome member of our warrior tribe, and you're always on the leading edge of some of the most important topics that are going on in our country. Whether it was the COVID fight and then the migrant crisis, you found your way to continue leading and serving not only our veteran community but the larger community. And we just recently talked, and you're once again throwing your hat into the ring to help support the great people of Texas. Man, you know, going into this administration, I was very excited, and I was like, hell yeah. And now in the last few months, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? We need more veterans in this space.
We do, and Texas particularly is in a bind. The leadership is stagnant. It's been there 12 years. It's a 30-year politician. I'm not going to throw mud on anybody, cast dispersions, but it's time for new guard and in the community, the world that we're in. As you and I both know, we know what color revolutions look like. We know what disenfranchised populations look like. We know what happens whenever you can use those things to your advantage politically. I could see down the road a little ways. And if we're going to be honest here, it's a natural progression. This is something I wrote the other day, a while back, but the natural progression of an honest, honorable man of God, it is the natural progression to see something that is wrong, tyranny, oppression, just something that's wrong, and to stand in the gap. It's like if you see somebody getting carjacked, you don't get your camera out and start taking pictures of it. You go out there and close the gap and take care of the situation. I've had to do that on Highway 35 in Denton. I mean, it's what we do. And so I didn't ask for this, right? And what we're talking about is running for the governor of Texas. I didn't look for this. We were running a counter human trafficking organization on the border where we do the find and fix portion and we give it to law enforcement. They finish. But what I found was people coming to me saying, "What's going on with the leadership?" I'm not responsible for them, but we are, right? And so if you feel like you have the wherewithal to make a difference, then you do. Now, I put my money where my mouth is now because I got approached by a bunch of folks about 2 months ago. Said, "Doc, we want you to run for governor of Texas." And I'm like, Yeah, you know what you're talking about, right? This kind of hill battle, straight up, and they said, yeah, we understand that, but we've got some people that really want to support you grassroots style. We're looking at $100 million war chest that we're going up against. And I've never looked at anything as, I mean, take a bunch of Green Berets, put them in a district center in the Tagalog Valley, and tell them there's 300 Taliban inbound, and they're going to go, yeah, target rich environment, right? I mean, that's the mentality. And so I wasn't looking for this, but I did a feasibility study over the last 2 months to see could we throw our hat in the ring. And when I got called back by some serious actors in the country, and I'm talking about people that everybody knows, of which I have to keep off the record for now, when they're telling me you actually have a chance to win this if you can get this, and this done. And now we'll talk about those things. But that's why I
Yeah.
said, okay, I prayed about it and jumped in there, and I told everybody, this is my analogy. You'll appreciate this. I'm in a C-130. I've got my chute on. We're in the chute shed. I'm walking out. Got a lot of equipment. Waddling out. I'm the alpha, so I wait. Everybody gets on. I get by the door. Turn around. Sit down. Wait. We're flying to the drop zone, and it's nighttime. And you got 115 pounds of kit on, whatever. And I go, well, the light's still red. Light's still red. Light's still red. Now we could, and I know somebody makes a wind call on the DZ and says, "Hey, too much wind." Never happens to the Green Berets. They still jump anyway. But still, that's why my job exists. I take care of the guys when I get down first, and hopefully don't break something on myself. But you could still turn the thing around to the last minute. But once you're out the door, unless you're a toe jumper, you're going all the way to the X, and that's it. That requires picking up that tick now, putting
Yeah.
your chute at the rally point, and then going, we're going to say a 100 meter. I mean, I'm sorry, 100 kilometer, 100 click ruck. At this point is what I'm looking at. But we've been so blessed. Some people call it lucky. We have fallen into things where it's just things have just happened, and it's moving us up in the fight. And now last night I did a X Space. 700 people got on, and we had 1 hour notice. I wasn't planning on doing it. I just come out of the flood zone in Central Texas, but I was tired. But 2 hours later, at the end of it, I knew we're going to win. We have a very good chance to win.
Yeah, it can seem daunting at first when we. That's right. It's when we look at the federal government outside of local community, outside of state, things look very dreadful. Yeah, but I always tell guys, look at your state, look at your local government, focus on making change there. That's where the fight needs to happen. We understand that because we're Green Berets. We've studied this stuff. Like everybody's hyper focused on the president, the cabinet. It's like, look, start at the state level. We need to get veterans. We need to get qualified individuals at the state level, at the representative level. That's where the fight's at. If we want to change anything, that's where it's going to be. But I want to go back. I want to really focus on your journey coming into this space and really like, I know you're a man of God, you're a man of faith, but man, I gotta imagine like it was probably, you probably needed a little bit of time and clarity to make sure like, okay, am I really ready for this fight?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely, Denny. It's like I said, a couple weeks of just feasibility, an assessment, a phase zero, if you will, if you're talking unconventional warfare. We've got to make sure that all of our lines of effort are matching up with things that will end state result in something that is net gain and not net loss. I don't want to waste people's time, and I don't want to waste people's money. Yes, I could run for sheriff, and I've been asked to do it. It didn't happen that go around. I didn't run, but yes, I've been asked to run for a congressman in Texas and in Oklahoma when I used to live there. Yeah, but a legislator is somebody that debates, right? In this case, I'm only suited for because of my career path and the way I did things for executive position, and it's not an ego thing. It's just that I take big problem sets and turn them around really quick and say, okay, this is what do we got to do. And then I have the smartest people in the room. It'd be my A team, if you will.
Yes.
11 other people that are completely untouchable, that are not sold to some sort of corporatocracy, whatever. These are the untouchables. And I've got them around me now. And that's who's really making it all happen. So you and I both know an A team could do, I believe, the equivalent of a battalion's worth of work. When you go down range, you're expected to be able to stand up a battalion,
Yep.
600 plus odd, cats. And so that's kind of at the microcosm description for what's happening at, the one of the top three most important elections in the country.
Yeah, it truly is. we have to study the trends, right? And everybody's leaving California, and a vast majority of those people are resettling into Texas. And what we know, and we've seen it, is people flee the things they voted for. They flee the areas and the hazards and the catastrophe that they actually voted for. They move to these red states that are idyllic, that are doing better, that are flourishing, and then they continue to vote for the same policies that they fled.
Okay, I have to segue into this because this is important.
Yes.
What you just said, is, and I'm pulling it up now just to make sure that I'm in line with my campaign team. But I came up with this one. This is number 6 on my. They call it a push card. Basically, it's what you talk to people about, and it's DCOT. Don't California our Texas. There you go.
Yeah. And
I mean,
that's
yeah,
and that's something
that's it.
that when we look at Texas, the leadership, the people that are going to be in charge, that is something they absolutely have to stand by and understand. Like we've seen it. I don't want Texas to become the next Colorado. And I grew up like in Colorado in a very small town community, the idyllic place where you could imagine like, raising a family back then. A lot of blue collar, a lot of great things. And what Colorado has turned into now is a case study of when policy and corrupt individuals take control. Like, it is absolutely horrid. Like, people call it progression. I call it just a bastardization of the American dream. People can't afford to live there. People can't afford to raise a family. People are fleeing, and the people that are flowing in are coming from California. They're coming from blue states, and they're voting for the same policies and ideas. And it makes no sense. When
You
you
know, yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say, I was going to add to that because when I meet people from California here in the Central Texas, where I'm based out of, there's a lot, right? It's hill country. It reminds me of California, and it's the same kind of climate. It is literally, you meet them, and I'll say, "Where are you from?" California. I'll say, "Okay, now, don't California or Texas," right? But it's a joke. But
Yeah.
honestly, I get a sentiment analysis instantly as to why they fled, and this was way before I thought about politics. I'm not thinking about politics. I'm thinking about leadership. I'm running for the senior public servant, if you will. But but the point is that they fled for that reason. But I believe that's due to complacency that a lot of people that don't even vote allow these things to happen. And so there is a certain sense which has taught me something,
Yeah.
which is civic duty. I was terrible about civic duty. A lot of people that get out of the military, we don't want to touch anything government anymore, right? We don't want to vote. We don't care about primaries. If you don't care about primaries in Texas right now, which is what I'm up against, Leviathan, then consider yourself status quo once again for the next 4 years and who knows how long. We've got to change it. And so, like you said, start locally. You have a global impact. I get it. Those are just words. People actually have to action that, even if it is civic duty, community, a county commission, or going out to your polls and being a watcher, whatever. Those are civic duty things we should teach back in school.
Yes.
Civics classes that we don't have anymore. We've got to teach those things to the next generation. And like you said, this generation coming up. Well, I was actually just talking to Sam Shoemate just a little bit ago. We were talking about civic duty for kids, the next generation, right? To bring them up, and it's an interesting dynamic that the hard times and hard men and weak times, weak men. That's where we're at. So we're on the back side of that weak men side because they're out there, and we've got to get these kids now are looking for that leader. They're looking to be. They want to. I'm seeing it in Texas, especially kids that are just looking for something that's like, okay, is there anything to believe in anymore?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's something that is it's trending right now. So we tend to think of the next generation as being, you know, not as active, not as rough and tough and going after it, but that couldn't be further from the truth. We're seeing a return to, wanting to achieve and aspire for something great. The young people in this country are starting to really understand that, man, tuning out, laying about, being, lackadaisical and not caring about anything really didn't benefit the people in front of us. Like, if we want to change things, we have to actually get involved. How do we speak and channel our messaging to the individual that is jaded, is distraught, that doesn't want to look at wanting to pick up and like do work. Like how do we get everybody to
Yeah,
rally around Doc?
that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, you touch on something that we already know, right? We learned it in the Q course. We learned it before that as a young infantry private. I learned it. You espouse to be that person that you admired, right? I had the drill sergeant. My guys were all Vietnam vets, and those guys, I aspired to be that. And everything that they said, I still remember to this day, right? Because they're just so impressionable at that time as an 18-year-old. And so when we go out now, we become professional, quiet professionals, or warrior diplomat, Green Berets that are out there doing stuff out in BSOs or whatever we're doing. You know that you inspire those people that you're training because they're watching you and they're seeing that work ethic and they're seeing that ability to multitask. They're seeing those things and they're like, you inspire them. Now we can't inspire them all. We know that. But there are certain ones, as you know, when you're dealing with a Kandak in Afghanistan, a battalion, and you're
Yeah.
training them, you watch them and you can pick out who gets it, right? You pick out who gets it. And then those are your go-to guys. And those are the guys that you lift up. And then they become really the nine the battle makes, right? There's this 480 BC, this guy, the Spartan guy, wrote this thing about warriors. He said, out of 100 soldiers, 10 shouldn't even be here. Throw them out. 80 are nothing but targets. We know this. We've seen it, right? Nothing but targets. But nine, they the battle make it. We're lucky to have them. And the one is a leader, and he'll bring the others back. So he said that, and throughout my career, I saw that, right? No matter what. Now you get to the Q course and you get to places where you've got those nine and they're all going through to be the one. You're getting that a different flavor of work ethic. It's really boils down to that, to care, to own your job, right? And other people's jobs. You tend to overwork. We do that. That's why we look older than we actually are. But that is exactly the thing that this generation is looking for. So we've got to inspire them. So part of my base is the people that are of voting age that are looking for that, and it is trending, right? It is. I'm talking to kids now. I'm kind of pushed into just sitting down at lunch and meeting kids and going, oh yeah, what are you doing? Well, yeah, I'm a cowboy, but I'm running for governor. Oh, sure you are. I'm like, no, seriously. Here's my information. Yeah, I need you to vote. You know, I'm an old school guy. I like to do just talk to people. And last night I did a space and there was 700 people popped in. It was literally not even my space on X, but somebody said, "Hey Doc, would you get on here because we saw what you're doing on the river with regard to the flooding in Texas on Guadalupe? Would you talk about it?" Yeah, and then it went 2.5 hours, 2 hours, and people are they're fed up, and these are people that trusted the establishment. They trusted it, but they're not seeing the action. They're seeing increased rise in taxes, decreased rise in security. The security is a key issue in this election. I'm talking about the state of Texas, but also the nation. And Trump has put tourniquets on that, right? As far as the border, he's put tourniquets on. I'll speak medically, but we still got a thousand tiny cuts. So we got to address those other things now that the bleeding has stopped. That we're going to need a transfusion at some
Yeah.
point.
Absolutely. And I want to pivot and I want to talk about the things that we need to address in Texas. It's a state that's near and dear to my heart simply because every time I've been there, every single person's made me feel at home. I've never had a bad situation in Texas, only great memories. And I've always like one thing that's very concrete is if you go to Texas, you've got 1,000 friends the moment you freaking step off that airplane out of the airport, whether it's an Uber drive, sitting out for dinner, like it is one of the greatest states in our union. 100% full stop, like one of the greatest states. And every time there's a crisis, the outpour of support is great. But the reaction from people, the people of Texas is one of the, like with the Texas Hill Country, with the recent flooding, without a shadow of a doubt, I knew like, okay, there's going to be thousands of nonprofits that flood in there, but I am not worried about this state because Texas is going to show up for Texas. It always has. Other states like North Carolina, when they went through their recent disaster, like instantly I knew like, okay, we're going to need tons of support. We're going to have tons of nonprofits there flood, but it's different. Texas has always shown up and taken care of their
Yeah.
own. How have you developed your strategy? What are the things that you're running on to address those strong Texan values and the people so they can rally around you?
So the very first thing on that is the Texas First movement. It would be the MAGA of Texas, right? Make Texas great again. But Yeah, it is truly. It's been great, and it's maintained that. There is a certain quintessential American character that exists, and Texans have their own character too to add to that, right? And so the American character is there. You and I both know that we've lived it. But the Texas character is a little bit different because it is specific to Texas. Don't mess with Texas. Texas strong. You hear all these things. Texans helping Texans on the border here or on the flood. That is very true. There were 17,000 Texans that showed up at this thing by day three. Right? These are not Texas Department of Emergency Management. They were there, but we outweighed them heavily outweighed them because they went to work. It takes a while for any infrastructure to catch up. And then FEMA comes in, a couple weeks later, neither here nor there about that. It's not made for, initial response. But during the rescue and recovery phases, listen, I was an hour and a half away from the zone where it really hit. And so I was in the truck with my team, heading down literally in 2 hours and then got down there and we just did what we do, right? Develop a situation on the ground, create a stronghold, a strong point. Went to rescue. We were doing rescues. Me and my dog got washed down the river a little ways. We're trying to pull some people out. We were on the edge, not in a large, but it was a 30-foot crest. It was tree top level. And, we got wrapped around a tree. I was tethered to him and we got wrapped around a tree and, luckily, able to slow down, broke, cut the line, got out of the water. But, that's just what we do, right? We get after it. Then I started talking to all the people that I knew from North Carolina, right? Because we were out that
Yep.
situation too. And then talking to literally dive team guys from Bragg, taking leave coming out here, MARSOC guys out of Coronado, SEALs. Then I called my buddies from the hard hat diving community down on the Beaumont, Port Arthur area that dive rigs and do welding. Brought those guys out a few days later. And so we were able to go down and once we got into recovery phase, give some closure to some families who were looking for their loved ones. And we took up the bulk of that on that key part of the river that is between Mystic and Camp Mystic, which people talk about, is Hunt,
Yeah.
Texas, all the way down to Comfort. So that right there is Texas first, right? So yeah, we're on the ground. Yeah, other people come in, but those were all people that were originally from Texas that were on all these units around the country said, I'm going home. And they showed up. So that's a great picture of that Texas first movement. That's number one. Of course, taxes in the state of Texas, property taxes are extremely high, especially since we've lured in a lot of corporations, a lot of technology, which is good for Texas. We're number eight in the world economies. If Texas was a country, the Republic of Texas, number eight. Yet we're number 27 in education. So we've got to bounce that back. Otherwise, as we're talking about the future, right? We
Yeah.
can't fulfill those jobs to maintain those level of operational capacity in those particular industries. So what does that mean? Well, that means they're going to have to bring it in from outside. We don't want to do that, right? We want to continue to improve our education. We can. That's one of the main things that I talk about. As far as human trafficking goes, look, I hate to admit it, but the city of Houston, Austin, San Antonio, those are some of the top cities in the country for human trafficking.
Yeah.
Because there were so many unaccompanied minors. 550,000 unaccompanied minors are missing. Okay? Yeah, yeah. So when we talk about that, we've got to do a better job, right? We can't. When I was looking at the border right in my face as a green suitor down there in Operation Lone Star, I saw it, I reported it, but we didn't have the capacity because the numbers were so tremendous coming across the border. Me and 40 other guys met 17,000 Haitians in Del Rio one night over 48 hours, and they told me to hold the line. Hold the
Jeez.
line. Look, these are not people that are armed, but many of them have nefarious mindsets. We're talking about from Haiti, from Venezuela, Tren de Aragua guys that are from the gang that's in northern Aragua region of Venezuela. Hezbollah, Hamas guys that are docked with documentation from Venezuela coming in. They look dark. They can pass through as a person seeking asylum. And so those kind of things are the security side of the house that are primary for me. And I've got an awesome plan for that. That's to revamp the Texas State Guard, not the National Guard. It's not under Title 10 or Title
Yeah.
32, but the State Guard. Florida's already doing it. I'm talking to them right now. We're preparing. I talked to three guys from a Tier 1 unit at Bragg who are going to leave their units after they get done, retire, and come out here and help us build our own special mission unit so we can do the same thing that Florida's doing. Hate to follow Florida, but we've talked about this for a long time with the current administration in Texas saying these are our recommendations. My company went down, National Guard company, Green Berets, and gave a threat vulnerability, conducted a TVA, threat vulnerability assessment of what their recommendations were in the foreign internal defense, but in this case, it's domestic internal defense world. And these were the recommendations. To plus that up, Texas State Guard right now functions as a humanitarian effort. So they give out sandwiches at hurricanes. I'm not belittling them. I'm saying they don't have the capacity to have an armed unit like Florida does, which is LEO, LEO credentialed people that can come down, former cops, former military, get them in, build that up. We could have the largest fighting force in the country that is not assigned to a title, a U.S. Code Title 10 or 32.
Yeah. No,
And
it's
it is
needed.
it's already mandated by the state under Texas military department. We just got to fix it. We got to fix that problem set.
Yeah, it's Ron DeSantis did a great thing developing that state guard. It makes fucking clear sense. We have seventh group
Without
right
it.
there.
I
It's
mean, we've
yeah,
got more. I mean, more retired. You can't throw a dead cat without hitting an operator in Texas that's retired. Look, these guys are looking for purpose, and the state guard is a great place to do that. And it is under. It's a heritage thing. The Alamo had two major commanders in the Alamo. One was the volunteer force, which was Davy Crockett and Bowie. Those guys did that, and then William Barron Travis led the Washington on the Brazos unit, which is now a Texas National Guard unit. The battle streamer says the Alamo on it. I was in that unit on the border. So
yeah,
we have those two historical lineage that need to be brought back up to their proper place, and with the capacity to defend the citizens from those that have come across in the tens of thousands that do have nefarious principles and intent.
yeah. I want to go back and touch on something you brought up, which is the economy of Texas. I mean, Texas is becoming rapidly becoming the next place for big Hollywood productions. There's a big mass exodus of production companies, and there's a lot of attention due to the Texas stars that Matthew McConaughey, forget Woody Harrelson. A lot of people are starting to move big industry, big projects into Texas. But at the same time, with all that attention flowing into Texas, how do we mitigate it from becoming the next California? We have it all like that. We've already talked about it a little bit, but what are some things that you foresee and some ways that we can mitigate in order to make sure that Texas stays Texas?
Right, and that is something that a lot of Texans are not happy with. 1 point something billion was given to the Hollywood industry to move to Texas, taxpayer money. They're not happy with that. That would be something I would have to moratorium, essentially put a halt on. It's not that I don't want to bring that industry in, but that's not our focus right now. That's like a line of effort right now. That's not even in the 500-meter target range for me, but it has to be addressed. I mean, there's a lot of things in that category because we've got to put our focus and our money. If I'm going to be the guy that's responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen, then I've got to be a man of my word. The people that I'm talking to are saying we're not happy with that. And it's more than just a cute statement of don't California or Texas. It has to do with the priorities that are set by the state as to what you really feel about your citizens. Because right now, our citizens feel disenfranchised in many ways. Even
Yeah,
people that are staunch Republicans and see what's going on at the federal level, they're not happy with the rhinos and all that. Same thing is happening in a microcosm in Austin at the state capitol with regard to our rhinos in the state legislatures and the leftward leaning, California thinking dudes. We've got we've got to we got to balance things out a little bit. And if you're going to be running as a Republican in Texas, then you need to act like one.
yeah,
There are some great people up there. There's a guy named Brian Harrison. I've got a meeting coming up with him. He's a state legislator who does think the same way and does have that listens to the people, right? That's what I did during this thing. I went to the session, the special session the other day to listen to the families that were not allowed to come into the session to say, what is it that you want us to know? Now, I'm not the governor yet, but what is it that you would want us to know? So I spent hours that day. And then yesterday went out to Sandy Creek, which was not even touched by the state with regard to the 100 homes that were destroyed and the 4
yeah,
bodies that are still missing. We got to listen to those things because that's the reality world, right? We don't live in a world of optics. We do, but people like us, don't. We don't live because we know that optics doesn't provide security, right?
yep,
It's the reality people that do that. It's the do tanks, not the think tanks. We
yeah,
need the think tanks. They got to think, but they got to advise us, not tell me that the scouts on the ground are wrong because I'm a scout on the ground. I'm not wrong. I know what the sentiment is.
Yeah.
And this is for a lot of worse things in 5, 10 years for this state.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. One of the things that I worry, seeing you step into this arena is that the old it's we're not built and we don't work around people that have that two-faced mentality. But what I've seen as I've gotten older and have had small glimpses into the world of politics, there's a lot of people that will shake your hand and smile and say great things about you up front, but on the backside, they will slander, they will be a complete turncoat, and they will impede your progress. And how are you and your team preparing you for this endeavor, knowing that more often than not, you're not going to be meeting some of the best honest brokers in this space?
Right. That's a great question. And we're doing a team internal threat vulnerability assessment with regard to what the people are saying, what's required to do, right? What are our end states, what we're going for, our mission statement. We've got to protect that more than anything else. And that mission statement is pretty easy. It's the Constitution of the state of Texas, right? So that's all I got to look at. And I've got to navigate that, and I understand that that thing. I took an oath as a National Guardsman in Texas to protect that Constitution as well. So you got that dual,
Yeah.
citizen soldier mentality. But in order to do that, you've got to understand who the players are there, right? So that's an information preparation of the battlefield, so to speak. You've got to understand the good guys and the bad guys, who's on the playing field. And I'm deep diving into that. I have a great team that's doing that for me. These are all volunteers, by the way. Nobody's taking a paycheck in this thing. We are straight up grassroots. We have to pay for certain things, and we do, and we're being blessed that way by folks that are from Texas, from all over the country. Like they want to see this thing succeed because status quo isn't working. Once again, 30-year politician, it's 12 years to fix things. And our taxes went up in this last administration, 12 years of this current governor, they've gone up 26% from where they were on property taxes. You can't survive. People can't buy homes. You're paying a lien to the government. There should be no, based upon what I read in the Texas Constitution, there should be no Texas taxes upon the citizens for their domicile, right? The way it's written originally was only upon industry, the things that require the usury fees to develop, right?
Yeah.
So we
And,
don't want to scare away people like that, but we want to
yeah.
make it fair.
You bring up a great point that not enough people are talking about. And this is policy that needs to be understood and people need to research it in every single state. We're fortunate. We served our nation, and certain states honor that. They give us the ability to, not have to pay taxes on certain things. But home ownership, that's one of the American dreams. Owning your own home. And now more than ever, in a vast majority of the states in this country, that is becoming a dream that is not attainable by most young adults. That is criminal, to be consistently raising the prices and having them become, lifelong renters. Like, that's, to me, is insane. Like, how do we fight?
I've heard that said before, and it came like this. It said, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, right? And there are certain agendas that are out there, and everybody has an agenda, right? It's not conspiracy, it's fact. I mean, there's just fact. The world agenda is different than what the American agenda is, and the Texas specifically. Texas is an independent thinking state. It's a frontier minded state for the most part. We've got to bring that back. We've got to understand that you have to give them the ability to achieve that American dream. My dad came to this country from another place legally, came through, became a citizen, became a successful citizen, had what would be called the American dream, which afforded me the opportunity to do exactly what he wanted for his family, which was I was the oldest son. When you're 18, you'll serve this country and give back what we've got from this nation. It's some of the people that came in like that have the strongest patriotic values. So you marry that up with the current American character, and that is what we're going to do. But we have to protect that. And when I go in, and I've got this team of untouchables around me, yes, they will protect the office. But what we've got to do is that mid level. If you think strategic, operational, tactical, that operational level where people can drag their feet, where they can play those games, where they did exactly do exactly what they're doing to President Trump, which is he's got to wash those out, but it takes a while. So we've got to hold the line until we can get that cold out, if you will. And here's the thing. Most people in that level, at the operational level that are kind of in the bureaucratic world, that the CSs that are out there in the military, senior executive staff people, the red tape folks that belong to bureaucracy, many of them, when challenged by something that's real and they see somebody coming in real, they're going to do all they can to keep me from coming in. I get it. I
Yeah.
understand that. They're going to throw mud. They're going to paint me in to be some kind of, nut job, whatever, right wing, this or that. Look, I'm a bell curve person. I'm in the middle. When it comes to most things, I don't sit on a fence because you can't. Texas, they're all barbed wire. But, but I will. But I will. I mean, I will do this. I will hold the line on certain key principles that are constitutional, right?
Yeah.
I believe that everybody in the bell curve has a say, right? I'm not talking about the far right, the far left. I'm talking about the normal people that
Yes.
have common sense. If you create the party called the Common Sense Party, that's really how you could describe it. We've got to have dialogue, right?
Yep.
Not dialectics, because words have meaning. A dialectic is something that can be shaped to create a narrative, and a narrative not necessarily is true or good for everyone. So we've got to have the discussion, right?
Yep.
The debate, honest debate, without emotions, right? We weren't issued emotions. We don't care about that stuff. Debate. You can convince me as an 18 Alpha, you as an 18 Bravo or an 18 Charlie or an 18 Fox, all the people in the Green Beret team, you can convince me that your idea, because you've experienced a lot more time on the team, you can convince me that, boss, this is a better idea. And I'll go, okay, it's not about ego. You got to survive. I got to survive. So now take that, supplant that to where we are now. You can convince me that that's a good idea if it makes sense and it's got a common sense litmus test put to it, right? That's how this works. It's not about giving up your party's platform, because that's party platform stuff. I'm talking about common sense that works for people. So how do we phase out taxes? Well, you can't do it overnight because it ends up messing with the economy. But Oklahoma's doing it right now. They're going to a phased withdrawal, if you will, for taxes. So we bring up the phasing and we say, okay, in the first year, we're going to have it 25% down. So we're going to get rid of 12 years of increased taxes. And then the second year, we're going to bring it down, 50%. All right, there we go. Now we got that last little bit, whatever, but we base that upon facts. We base that upon good decision making processes that will lead us then to the end state, which is what the people want: no taxes. That's just one example. There's numerous things that we've got to look at in Texas. I'm drinking from a fire hose right now, but it's not that hard because I've lived here.
You just described the optimal learning environment for every Green Beret.
Right? That's what we do, but that's why those teams are so effective. It can be done here, and there are some extremely intelligent, good people in the state of Texas legislature. So we've got to have those people right there that are willing to have the discourse, the discussion, and in fair debate. That's the whole purpose of having the House and Senate. They debate things and they come up with a solution. It's not about just what does your party want, right? It's about what do the people want? What do they really want? Because if they don't get that voice, just the other day, just 2 days ago in the Texas Capitol, if they don't get that voice, they're out in the hallway, and then security has to come and get them because they're getting passionate because they lost their grandma, one lady, her mother, her daughter, and her brother in the same storm, and she doesn't have a voice. She can't go in that room because they don't want them in there. They'll disrupt. You got to listen to those folks and say, how do I create an environment where you are not disenfranchised tomorrow?
Yeah. And honestly, I can't thank you enough for stepping into this. I'm not even a Texan. I see trends. And one of the things that I want to see more of are more Green Berets, more veterans stepping into this role. And what helps this happen and create this effect of slowly rolling the ball down the hill and creating momentum is seeing great Green Berets such as yourself stepping up. And we've got Jay Collins, we've got a couple other Green Berets out there, Nick's out there. Individuals are willing to lead from the front, and we need more. And before we close out, I want to give you a chance to speak directly to the people of Texas, because as soon as this airs, I'm going to throw my money into running this as an ad out in Texas. So
Sure.
speak directly to the people of
Right.
Texas right now for however long, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and speak directly to them as to why they need to vote for you and rally around you and support you, Doc.
I think it's appropriate, but I appreciate the time. Understand this, Texas. We are in probably the most important election of at least the time that I've been around in Texas. Paying attention to politics, paying attention, because this is a time when you need people that can see things before they happen. Call that left of bang theory in the military world. Before the bang, the bomb in the road, right? You want to avoid those things. I'm not painting a picture of the sky is falling. What I'm painting is truth. And the truth is that the way we're going now is not leading to status quo, is not leading to anything that is going to be beneficial for your children, your grandchildren, for my grandchild, right? I have to admit that, and I'm proud of it. But Texans are kicking off. Truly, this is kicking off already on this campaign, kicking off the real Texas First movement, right? There have been people out there doing it, and they are coming on board and listening. I mean, I met 700 of you last night on an X Space. And by the end of it, was supposed to be, I told them I could give you 20 minutes. I'm tired. Been on the river. It was 2 hours, and it was just listening and hearing and then responding with some really hard questions. Some of those minefields. I'm not afraid of minefields. As I said, Texas fences are barbed wire. I'll sit on these. So we won't do that. I'll give you a real honest answer. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But I've got the smartest people in the room right now and more to come as more and more volunteers are coming on board. But that's kicking off. We will truly secure our border. Truly, right? Not an optic. I've worked on that border. Operation Lone Star. I briefed Governor Abbott personally when he asked me how many Texans, I mean, how many Green Berets do we have on this border? And at the time, there was just me. And I said, "You have one, sir." I mean, it was in the Del Rio hangar. There's a picture of it out there. Me on my knee, taking a knee in front of the commander in chief, and me sitting in front of him and saying, "You got one, sir." And he looked at the general standing next to me. He said, "We only have one on the border." And she was like, "Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess." I mean, okay. And he said, "Well, get me some more." And so we brought a company down. When we brought a company of Green Berets to the border, what happened? They didn't do Green Beret stuff. They trained National Guardsmen in how to do observation, right? Which is great stuff. It's what we do, but we weren't there for a JSEC, a Joint Combined Exchange Training Program with another country. We were there to do Green Beret stuff, to stop the flow of to conduct counterterrorism, right? That's what we were doing. We should have been doing. Got it. We won't talk about the things that happened that were wrong, but there is a place. You have that asset in your state. Most people don't know that, right? They exist. They're here. We have the ability to do it ourselves. We have I would say probably the 12th largest army in the world if you looked at Texas as a country, right? We have divisions. We got a brigade of airborne. I mean, this is important to understand that as a commander in chief, you have the authority, Title 32 authority to use those forces to defend your state in anything. It may not be kinetic. There may not be a shooting war, although there was shooting that took place. But it is one of those things that if you're not prepared to take care of that at that point, then I've got to come to you as a governor and say, well, we didn't do our job, and sorry, we just lost Laredo. I mean, that's not the conversation we want to have. So we've got to be left of bang. We can't be reactionary. We have to be proactive so that your security is of the utmost. To me, it's in the Texas Constitution. It is authorized. I don't need to ask for authorities from anybody else than to develop it on our team and give you the end state and meet with you every week, just like this, and go, all right, Texas, this is what we got going on, and give you the honest truth, and have town hall meetings with you every day if I have to, or however we got to do it, so that you know what we're doing is truth, transparency, and action. We don't have time for certain things, exigent circumstances. We don't have time for it. Our with regard to health, right? Decentralizing medicine in the state of Texas is imperative. To take it out of the hands of the people that operate in the bureaucratic level and to give it to a task force, what else I'll provide, a task force of the smartest physicians in the state of Texas, right? Healthcare workers that will sit down, both sides of the aisle, talk about their issues, give me an honest bottom line up front, and a so what, why are you bringing this to me? And here's the solution, sir. Roger that, go out and make good things happen. And then keep a tab on that and have decision points and all those things along the line to make sure we're meeting our mark, which is your mark, abolishing property taxes, phased withdrawal of property taxes. We can't fall behind other states. Oklahoma, I love Oklahoma to death. And I know the governor of Oklahoma, Stitt. Okay, he's a good man. And he is doing that for them. So we've got to phase that out, right? We got to do exactly what they're doing. We don't want to follow anymore. We want to lead. Florida has done some great things with their state guard, as I mentioned before. We've got to lead. We've got to lead that. We can. We can build our state guard back up to the days of William Barrett Travis on 24th of February in the Alamo when he said, fellow citizens and patriots, we're besieged on all sides. And he went on to say, and we call on you everything that's dear to the American character to come to our aid with all dispatch. I'm talking to Texans and all Americans in the world. That's what I'm talking to. The same thing that he did to bring back that same honor, prestige, and esprit de corps of the Republic of Texas to modern day so that we are completely self-sufficient, that we can run this state as we should with our own power grid, with our own not gold-backed currency, but our own gold deposit, with our own. The only state in the country that has its patent office for its land in its state is Texas. Everything else is up in the DC area. So we will bring that back. It's already here. We will operate in the sovereignty that is given to the state by the federal and state constitution to operate that for you so that you can truly say, I live in Texas, the freest state in the country. Other things, election integrity, that's a huge piece. Texas has a history of nefarious things happening in elections. I got it. It's happened in all states. Just sometimes you don't see it. We cannot just put our head in the sand and say, well, civic duty, I don't really have to do it. Yeah, you do. You got to vote, right? And along those lines, and I'll wrap it up with this, yes, don't California or Texas. It's cute and all that stuff, but it's real. We don't want that political mindset in Texas. We want the people, right? We've got a lot of you here. I appreciate you. We want you here, but we've got to have that mindset to stay over there on the West Coast, or the left coast, if you will. We got to have that. And then the final thing. So look, Texans are taking Texas back. We are doing it now. We saw it on the flood. I saw it on the border. Texans stand up and do what's right, right? It's not things that are done without authorities. It's done because their heart is in the right place. And the people that came in, thank you for coming in on this flood. Same thing we did for the folks in North Carolina. I ran into two people from North Carolina that drove out here to help, and they stopped me and said, we came out here because you came out to North Carolina. I appreciate it. That's my second home, Fort Bragg, right? The Piedmont, the Western North Carolina specifically, where we jumped into Robin Sage and rescued the people of Pineland, right? So that's what we do. But on March the 3rd, 2026, the day after March the 2nd, which is Texas Independence Day, the day after is going to be Texas Liberation Day, March the 3rd, 2026. That is the primary. And that primary, folks, is primary. Because without it, we don't go to November.
Heck yeah. Doc,
Pete Chambers, I endorse this.
Hell yeah. Doc, I'm absolutely thrilled and proud. You've been the same devoted, hardworking, real leader since the moment I met you going through the Q course. You've been a source of confidence, and you've always been a North Star for everybody that you've been mentored and supported throughout their careers. And I am grateful for you for stepping into this arena because we need more men like yourself that are willing to lead from the front. It's not an easy call to action. It's not something that I say, and I understand the gravity of it. If you're able to serve in this capacity, please step up to the plate. If you got experience in this realm, if you want to devote your time and volunteer and be part of this effort, please step up to the plate. Our country used to have a great representation of veterans in our government. And sadly, it's not the same. Individuals are stepping up. They're coming in, and little by little, we'll see some change. But right now, if you're a veteran and you have the ability to lead in this space, please step forward. We need you.
And if you're a veteran in Texas, of the 1.8 veterans that are in Texas on the 3rd of March, I need you to pick up a fire team, a platoon, a company, get on a bus, whatever you need to do, and get down there and vote. We don't typically do that. I didn't do that before. I'm going to be honest, but we've got to do that at this point. I need you on this election.
Yeah. Again, Doc, where can they go to find out some more information about your campaign? Yeah.
Campaign's at docpetechambers.org. It's the campaign website, and it has a little more detail in there, but I gave you the heart of it, and that's really the most important part. There's a great place to link up and become a volunteer. And just like the 3 operators out of the mission unit over there in Bragg. Here's the funny part. They called them. And they were like, oh, we know, Doc. We were a 3rd group. Yeah, we'll come out there. Awesome. Come on. We need you.
Hell yeah. It's a small community. It's a small world. And like I said, we are proud to know you, support you, and be there for you, brother. If you guys do me a favor, pause right now, go to the episode description, click those links, get involved, help spread this message. It doesn't matter if you're not from Texas. I do believe every Green Beret should have an honorary residency in Texas.
They
Just
will.
it's right along with everything that we believe in, and it's one of the greatest states, and it definitely needs our help. So if you go there, pause, go to those links, support Doc, share this episode with your friends that live down in Texas, help bring some awareness to this campaign, because Doc's the man for the job. Thank you all for tuning in. Doc, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you all next time. Till then, take care.